Okay, so today we are going to taking the unit number 6 EJB. Okay, EJB is nothing but the Enterprise Java Beans. Okay, only 12 people are joining. Pratiksha, you record the lecture. Pratiksha.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so shall we start? Okay, so today we go for the EJB, Enterprise Java Beans. So this is the unit number. Which unit? Yes. Have you seen syllabus? Okay, this is the from unit number 6, that is web services, right? So EJB, first we see about the overview of EJB, then types of EJB, benefits. Okay, first basically Enterprise Java Beans is a platform which is used to develop the web applications. Okay, so where we can install the EJB, for example, you can use the platform, that is Eclipse editor. I think everyone know Eclipse editor. In that Eclipse editor you can install the EJB applications. Okay, or Java EE, that is Java Enterprise Edition, you can install, and on that you can do the programs EJB, Enterprise Java Beans, right? Then benefits of EJB, why we go for the EJB, why we are using EJB. Okay, then architecture for that, EJB technologies, and JNDI lookup for that. Okay, so next part is types of EJB. Okay, so first Enterprise Beans. In that, first type is session beans, then message beans, entity beans. Okay, main three types under session beans. Again, stateless session or stateful session. Then entity beans, again having two different types, that is bean managed persistent and container managed persistence. Okay, so types of EJB. So first, session. Okay, so everyone knows session. Session is the stores data for a particular user. Okay, for a single session. So it can be a stateful session or it can be a stateless session, right? So it is a less resource intensive as compared to entity bean. Okay, it is a less resource intensive, means stateful or stateless. It is then session bean gets destroyed as soon as user session terminates. Okay, so when we out the from that method or from that session, okay, immediately session will be destroyed. The entity bean. Okay, entity bean is nothing but what? Represent persistent data storage. Okay, user data can be saved to database via entity beans. Okay, so in database there is a table and rows. In that your data will be stored by using triggering. Okay, whatever updates it can reflect into the database, and later on can be retrieved from the database, and we can fetch retrieve from the database in the entity bean. Okay, the next is message driven bean. In message driven, what we are generally used for context of JMS. JMS is Java messaging what service, right? So JM message driven beans can consumes what JMS Java messaging services from external entities and act accordingly, right? Okay, then next is session bean. Basically first type, stateless session beans. Okay, is a business object that represent business logic. Okay, it does not having any data and all that. It only the business logic, right? In other words, we can say conversational state between multiple methods. Okay, two methods can communicate together, that is conversational state between two method calls, or is maintained by the container. Okay, in case of stateless session beans, stateless means container, we manage the processes there, that is the session beans or stateless session beans. First type we can see the stateless bean object are pulled. Okay, stateless object were pulled by the EJB container. EJB container can pull the stateless objects to service the request on the demand. As per the user request demand, it can pull the objects from container, right? It is like a stack. We store the processes there, or it can be pulled by the EGP. Then it can be accessed by one client at a time. So one process can be accessed by one client at a time. Okay, no multiple clients can access same process. Okay, so in case of concurrent access, EJP container routes each request to different instances. Okay, annotations used in stateless session beans is at the rate stateless. Okay, so the next is the stateful session beans. Stateful is nothing but the business object that represent business logic, like stateless session beans, but it maintains data. Okay, stateless मध्ये we cannot maintain the data. First difference, in stateful we maintain the state or maintain the data. In other words, conventional state between multiple method call is maintained by the container in stateful session beans, right? Okay, so annotation already used this one, at the rate stateful. Okay, so we can say conventional state between multiple method calls or maintained by the container. Okay, next is the message driven bean. See the diagram first. Application client, then it can send the message via send JMS, then it is queued, then delivers where Java EE server. Java EE is nothing but Java Enterprise Edition server. Okay, and EJB container is there, in that MDB database is there and instances is there. Okay, so message driven bean is what happened. Message driven bean MDB is a bean that contains business logic, but it invoked by passing a message. Okay, we can pass the message with the business logic. It is like a JMS receiver. Okay, MDB asynchronously receives the message and process it. Okay, then a message driven bean receives message from queue or topic. So you must have the knowledge of JMS and API, application programming interface between Java messaging services. Okay, a message driven bean is like a stateless session that encapsulate the business logic and does not maintain state. Okay, so message driven, it is encapsulation, means it wraps two things together, that is the business logic and the it cannot maintain the state. Okay, stateless session as well as business logic. Then entity beans. Okay, so here entity beans is the third type. In that, container managed persistent, the EJB container managed data by saving it to a design or designated resource. Okay, see, always remember in EJB there is a container which can save the or store the processes. Okay, or manage the data by saving it to a designated resources, which is normally a database. Okay, for this to occur, you must define what the data that the container is to manage with the deployment descriptor. Okay, data is managed by deployment descriptor. The container manages the data by saving it to the database. It is important, container manages the data by saving it to the database. Means container, what is the role of container? It can save the data into the container by using the database. Okay, then data managed persistent, means the bean implementation manages the data within callback method. Okay, so all the logic for storing data to your persistent storage must be included in the EJB store method. Okay, and reload from your storage in the EJB load method. Remember, store method, store can store, and load method can reload the data. The container invokes these methods when necessary, or it can calls the message. Okay, so outline of EJB enterprise Java Beans. Okay, benefits of EJB. So first benefit is what? Simplified development or large scale enterprise level application. In many industries, EJB is used, okay, on large scale. Then application server. EJB container provides most of the system level services. For example, which services? Load balancing services, transaction handling, logging, then exception handling, and so on. Because of that's why EJB is most popular one. Like your Bootstrap, WordPress, EJB also used for the enterprises, okay, for the business logic, right? The next is EJB developer just focus on business logic and on solving business problems, okay, not on data logics, not on data, okay, it is focused on the business logic or processes. So because business logic lies in EJB, so front-end developer can focus on the presentation of client interface. Okay, this is the benefit. Then client developer does not have to code. Means client developer does not have to code the routines that implement business rules or access databases. Okay, our client side has less codes, which is particularly important for client that run on small devices. Okay, so Java Beans is again portable component which enable the Java application assembler to build new applications from existing Java Beans. Okay, this is a portable component. This is the one of the benefit. So first benefit is what? Large scale enterprise level application. Then transaction handling, logging, load balancing, exception handling, all facilities are provided in this framework. Then EJB developer just focus on the business logic rather than data. Then it in business logic there lies in EJB. Then developer can focus on the presentation of client interface only. Then client developer does not have to code, okay, business rules or access databases or run on small devices as well. And it is a portable component. Okay. So next is the architecture. In architecture, EJB architecture. So first is the EJB server, EJB client. Okay, in that EJB server, this one. EJB server containing what? EJB client information, that is enterprise Java Beans and enterprise Java Beans. Okay, that is container. Then relational databases. EJB client request to the EJB server. EJB server take the information from relational database, store into the container, and do the operation on the or save that processes into the container. Whatever required, it can be extract or fetch from the container by using EJB server. Okay, and get to the client. Okay, this is the basic server, EJB client, EJB server. Okay, remember it is a platform or framework for developing the what? Web applications. Okay. Then next is EJB architecture components. So in EJB architecture components, what happens? First component is nothing but EJB server. Okay. So previously we saw in the diagram, EJB server is the main component basically. In that EJB container is there. Okay. EJB container is used for what? To storing the processes or storing the uh, logs. Okay. So enterprise beans, then EJB clients and relational database as well. Other auxiliary systems is, for example, Java naming and directory, JNDI. Okay. we learn about the Java naming and direct interface JNDI server. Okay, same as the for the web applications, we require the Apache Tomcat server, JBoss server, Glassfish. From these all, you can use the any one of what server for for run your web application or web pages on that server, right? So basically, you are suppose you are going to use the Hibernate, you can write the application there, you can store that application or a web page, and you can add the server manually. In practical, there is a one assignment, add the server. Okay, so from that, one menu bar is there. In that add server, all server list will be displayed. From that, whatever server you required, you select that server, just click on add that server, already automatically added there in your framework. And in same framework, you can write the input file, you can process that file, and you can load that file. Okay, suppose main.java your file, you can right click on that main.java file, or after right clicking, options pop up there, that is the run on server. You immediately you can run on server, that program is loaded into the server. Okay, so basically Apache Tomcat server is used most of the frameworks for running the web applications. Okay, so EJB server, EJB server, these all servers are also we can use. EJB container, enterprise beans, EJB clients, these are the all architecture components, because previously we saw these all in this diagram, right? EJB client, this one first part. Then EJB clients containing enterprise Java Beans containers, and relational database. Relational database is nothing but the what? The data stored in the format of tables. Huge amount of information stored into the database. Whatever required, that load into the EJB beans, and it can provide it to the EJB clients through EJB server. Okay, this is the basic architecture of EJB, enterprise Java Beans. One of the last assignment, depending on the EJB platform, we see about the how to run program on EJB server, file, new web application, all that sequence. Okay, EJB architecture components, EJB server. Always remember, it may be asked in the examination. EJB containers. One of the question may be like MCQ will be there, like EJB architecture components. Okay, one of the option should be there. Okay, so you can select correct one. Okay, so this is the important EJB architecture components whenever the web applications going to develop. Then EJB architecture component, EJB server. Okay, so first part is a server. So enterprise Java Beans server. So when we do the business logics, first outmost container is there. It can manage EJB containers. Okay, in architecture diagram we saw the two containers there. Okay, like that many containers are there, so it can manage EJB containers architecture. Provides runtime environment. Runtime environment provides me platform. It can provide the workspace to type your program and run your program. Okay, services is nothing but the process. It can, and thread management, whatever the process comes into the critical section, run that process or execute that process, whatever the other processes coming into the queue. Okay, keep it into the sleeping mode, and one at a time one process can be run at the critical section. Okay, like a mutual exclusion, you already learn about this in operating system. Okay, processes, it can manage the processes, and thread management, it can run the threads. Okay, because Java programming can run the threads. Java is depending on the object code, so we can run the different threads on different parallel processes, and we combine as a one solution. Okay, that's why services provided by EJB is what? Process and thread management. It can manage the processes, it can be threads. Threads is nothing but the large program divided into small one, or particular one thread can run at a time. Okay, that is thread management. The next is system recourse management. Okay, System resource management is nothing but it can manage all the resources. Okay, whatever the internal processes, external processes comes to the OS. These all system resources can management. Then database connection, pooling and catching. Okay, so EJB service is nothing but the one of database connection establishment, pulling that connection and catch the connection. Okay, whenever you work on CPU, there is a one port that is the RJ45 cable we attach there, that is LAN cable, right? So in that LAN cable, operating system can in few of minutes or few milliseconds, it can checks whatever the process, whatever the data is coming or not, it continuously checking. That is the database connection, network connection catching and all that. And database connection pulling is nothing but triggering whatever the runtime dynamic changes is going on, that is triggered means stored into the database immediately, that is triggering background process. Okay, so these are all services provided by EJB architecture components. First is process and thread management, then system resource management, database connection pooling and catching. Then EJB container. Okay, it contains enterprise beans. Okay, then it can provide the many services. It can manage the services, naming, lifestyle management of the system or your program, persistence, transaction management, security. Okay, these are the functions of EJB containers. EJB architecture components. For example, enterprise Java beans we already saw this: session beans, message beans, entity beans, stateless, stateful. Stateless means only business logic is there and not data. Here business logic as well as data. Stateful. Okay. Then bean managed persistent and content managed persistent, and message bean having used the JMS, Java messaging services. Okay. The next is the EJB. These all contents about the previous one, architecture. Okay, now EJB technology. Okay, so EJB technology is the server side component architecture. Always remember it is a EJB used for what? For design the business logics, handle the processes, or handle the containers, EJB containers. So it is a, of course, server side components. Okay, it is used in the server side. Or used on Java platform, for the Java platform, Enterprise Edition JEE. Okay, whenever whenever you install the Eclipse editor, many versions are there. For example, Eclipse Java EE version is there, one of the framework, that is Eclipse Editor Java Enterprise Edition. Okay, this is Java EE used for the EJB and all technologies. Okay, latest technology we can run on that platform. When we go for the what Eclipse Oxygen version or Oxygen framework, in that some of the drawbacks. That's why then next is the Eclipse editor Lunar version comes. Then next is the Java EE comes for specially for the enterprise applications. Okay, so these all Eclipse editor having different frameworks. Depending on the user requirements, you can install that framework and you can use that frameworks. Okay, but most of the frameworks containing the web application and server, we can type the program there in the workspace and run on same platform, that is on the same framework. We can add the server there and we can run the program over there. Then next is the JNDI. Okay, so JNDI, already we know the long form, Java Naming Directory Interface. It is Java API, Java Application Programming Interface. For what? Directory service that allows Java software clients to discover and look up data. Okay, and objects via a name. Okay, what we discussing about? Discover, look up data and objects via a name. Okay, we discover clients from the lookup data and objects. via name. That's why it's called as a Java Naming and Directory Interface, JNDI, right? Then next, like all Java APIs that interface with host systems. Okay, host systems is nothing but your server system. JNDI is the independent on the underlying implementation. Okay, so additionally, it specifies a service provider interface, SPI. It provides SPI, long form, remember, for the MCQ, service provider interface, SPI. Okay, that allows directory service implementation to be plugged into the frameworks. Okay, SPI allows directory service. Okay, SPI, we need to add SPI packages, that can, after adding these packages, it can allow directory services, okay, to plugged into the framework. It may make use of server, flat files, database. The choice is up to the vendors. Okay, whatever the whatever application, whatever the demands by the customer, it depends on vendors. Whatever you work on, server, flat file, or database. Typical issues of JNDI includes, okay, Java naming and directory interface issues. What or uses is basically, not issues, sorry, uses connecting a Java application to an external directory services. Okay, means our Java application into our framework are externally connect to the external directory service, such as an address database or an LDAP server. LDAP, OLAP server, LDAP server. OLAP is, okay, online analytical data processing tool. Okay, means our Java application we can connect to the LDAP server because of JNDI interfacing. Okay, this is a very important point. Then allowing a Java servlet to look up configurations information provided by the hosting web container. Okay, Java servlet. Okay, using Java servlet, two end processes can be communicate over the internet. Okay, so because of servlet. Okay, 5 processes are there for the servlet. You already learn into the computer network, right? Servlet. Then next, JNDI, very important API whenever you go for the external directory services. JNDI lookup architecture. Okay, so it consists of what? API, application programming interface, and SPI. Okay, means always remember, whenever we speak about the JNDI, we always remember it is API and the SPI. Okay, both it consists API and SPI, Java, or application programming interface and service provider interface. Java application use the JNDI API to access a variety of naming and directory services. These both words are important, naming and directory services. Then SPI enables a variety of naming and directory services to be plugged in transparently. Remember, services to be plugged in transparently, thereby allowing the Java application using the JNDI API to access their services. Means using SPI, we use the JNDI application programming interface. We can access through this interfacing, we access their services. Okay, that is transparently. Then to use the JNDI, you must have the JNDI classes or one or more service providers. Okay, that is JDK, Java Development Toolkit or Kit. It includes service providers for the following naming directories. That is lightweight directory access protocol. Okay, lightweight directory access protocol. This is the protocol. Okay, not LDAP. LDAP is also server name. LDAP also protocol name. Okay, OLAP is also a OLAP is also a server, LDAP also a server name, and LDAP is also a process. Okay, or protocol. Sorry, protocol. Protocol is nothing but what? The rules. Okay. So protocol is nothing but the rules or communicate the internet for communicating two devices or two processes. So common object request broker architecture, CORBA architecture, already you learn about in the operating system, I think so. Common object request broker architecture. Okay, it is a CORBA architecture, common object services and name services. Okay, so Java remote method innovation, that is RMI registry. Java remote method invocation, RMI. Whenever in C++ you are using inheritance, means the base class properties inherits into the which class? Derived class, right? So like in Java, whenever we inherit the properties, we go for the go through the RMI. Okay, remote method interfacing. Okay, that is registry. Remote method in invocation. Okay, RMI registry. We can say that this is the RMI registry. The domain name system, DNS. Okay, so from diagram, you better understood. JNDI lookup. Basically, topmost layer is Java applications. We run directly over there. JNDI API is there. Using API, we communicate through the naming manager. Naming manager communicate through the JNDI SPI. Okay, that is LDAP, DNS, NIS, NDS, RMI, CORBA. Okay, so JNDI implementation possibilities. So this is the basic hierarchy of JNDI lookup architecture. Then CMS. Okay, so you understood the first we first in on YouTube we uploaded the I uploaded the lecture, that is web services, basically SOAP, REST protocol, SOAP protocol, difference between that. Okay, these all are the web services. Basically today's most of the widely used web services is Amazon web services, Microsoft Azure web services. Okay, like that many different services are provided into the market. Okay, so most popular is Amazon web services. Then EJB is enterprise Java Beans. It is a framework or platform for web applications. Okay, or business, or write the business logics. Okay, that is EJB, components of EJB, architecture of EJB, and which protocols comes under EJB we already covered, right? Then next is the CMS. So today we stop here on EJB. On next lecture tomorrow we can learn about the CMS. Okay, so you revise EJB. Next lecture we or I can ask some questions on EJB. Okay, so you should know the EJB, architecture of EJB, components of EJB, services of EJB. Okay, and which protocols comes under EJB. These are the very important part. Okay, so we stop here. Tomorrow we'll go through the CMS.